السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله هيا على الصلاة هيا على الصلاة هيا على الفلاح هيا على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونستهديه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله أرسله الله تعالى بين يدي الساعة بشيرا ونذيرا وداعيا إلى الله بإذنه وسراجا منيرا فصلى الله عليه وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين ومن صار على نهجهم إلى يوم الدين. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد، فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدى هدى محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل الضلالة في النار. Indeed, all praise and thanks is due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Lord of the worlds. And may the peace and blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be upon His final messenger, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. On this day of Al-Jumu'ah, in the month of Al-Rajab, one of the sacred months, today is an opportunity for us to think about what happened just a few days ago. And today isn't a spectacular day or isn't a special day for us to think about what happened in the past, with special reference, if you like, to what happened in southern Turkey and northern Syria, where there was an earthquake. Not one earthquake, but multiple earthquakes and aftershocks, which have destroyed cities, which have brought villages and towns to absolute rubble. Not just to think about that, but if we think also that just a few months ago, that there were signs that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us for us to think about and for us to be reminded about. Did we forget about the floods that occurred in Pakistan, where some of the footage that we saw, where towns and villages were uprooted from the floor themselves, from the earth, and swept away. To look at them now as though that no village ever existed there before, no town ever existed there before, that the countryside itself looks completely different. The floods that affected those people, thousands of people, thousands of lives were taken. And prior to that, the earthquakes and the floods and the famines and the fires that exist, that occur on this earth to serve to remind us about the qudrah, about the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But like everything, not for it just to put a bookmark in history, or that we remember the day, or you remember what you were doing on that particular day, only for the next event to come, and then you may remember, oh, do you remember what happened a few months ago? Don't you think they're quite frequent now for you to remember these events in such a manner? Our cry first and foremost, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah, that there is no power and no might except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil, kafinallah wa ni'mal mawla, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who is going to take care of our affairs, and there is no one better than Allah Jalla wa Ala, than the one who is going to take care of you and I, than Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. These catastrophes, these disasters which may not impact your home, you still have the key to go back to your home, to see your family, your warm homes, your comfortable beds, your jobs, they're still there waiting for you. But to say that it didn't impact you would be a complete misunderstanding. To say that it doesn't affect you in any way as a Muslim would be a complete misunderstanding of what it means to say La ilaha illallah Muhammadan Rasulullah. Because as we know, as a Muslim, we are impacted by those events that happen on our doorstep and those matters that happen across the globe. That your response to that event will be judged and will be seen and will be taken to account by that matter, by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Your response will not necessarily be the same. You're not looking for a home to live in, somewhere to keep your family warm tonight, because the earth did not swallow you. The earth did not shake to the extent that it left your home but to be just rubble and bricks and dust. But how will you respond? And how will you be impacted by these reminders? More than 25,000 people, their lives were taken in a matter of moments. Aerial footage of what one city looked like before the earthquake to what it looks like after the earthquake, two incomparable images. Life, existence, families, community, society just disappeared just like that. But this is the life. And this is the life that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made for us. that we will make decisions, that we will make our own conclusions how to deal with the different situations, but we will not forget that this world that we live in will be a test. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created life and death لِيَبْلُوَكُمْ أَيُّكُمْ أَحْسَنُ عَمَلًا, that you will be tested who is best in action, who is best in response, who will turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at the correct time. But not necessarily always a time of despair and pessimism and to feel sorry. But as the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us in the sound hadith, عَجَبًا لِأَمْرِ الْمُؤْمِنِ, how amazing the affair it is for the believer. إِنَّ أَمْرُهُ كُلَّهُ خَيْرٌ, that all of their affairs, for the believer that is, that they are good. وَلَيْسَ ذَاكَ لِأَحَدٍ إِلَّا لِلْمُؤْمِنِ, and that is only for the believer. إِنْ أَصَابَتْهُ سَرَّاء شَكَرْ فَكَانَ خَيْرٌ لَهُ, that if a good matter is that he is afflicted with some goodness, that they are grateful and that is better for them. وَإِنْ أَصَابَتْهُ ضَرَّاء, and that if calamity befalls them, صَبَرْ فَكَانَ خَيْرٌ لَهُ, that they show some form of patience, that they withhold their reaction, and that is better for them. And that we know through these trials and through these tests that people will behave differently. They'll be thankful for the blessings that come their way. There will be others who will be patient in a test that comes their way, and don't necessarily think that trials and tests will come and it affects an entire community, as it did just a few days ago. Thousands and thousands of people being impacted. But maybe an individual is impacted. You as a person, everything is fine today, and your whole world can be turned upside down just like that. So I received a call yesterday after Salat al-Asr to ring a family. This individual whom in the morning this family is preparing in 3 months' time for them to give birth to their first son. Their first son. And they're debating over what name they should name their son. They're preparing the room, the cot, the clothing, the preparations, the surur, the happiness that is in the heart of that new to be mother and new to be father. Only then for the mother to suddenly have very strong contractions. Only 6 months have passed. I'm not supposed to give birth at 6 months. So she goes into labor and she gives birth, but the baby is only 2/3 of the way through the pregnancy. Many of its faculties, its lungs are unable to allow it to breathe. This is around close to Maghrib time now. I speak to the family and they said the doctor has given us 2 choices. One choice is to pursue, to try to give life to this very small baby which fits in the palm of your hand. The other choice that maybe is that there will be no coming back, we cannot do nothing for that small baby, that the decision maybe need to be made that we pull the life support. How can anyone possibly give an answer what to do in a situation like this? 15 minutes later, the decision is taken away from them. Meaning that the doctors, 3 consultants have all agreed that the lungs are so undeveloped that there is no possible way. Wallahu bihi alim. And that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is aware and has full knowledge of all of these things. That we cannot do nothing, it is just a matter of time to say goodbye, to say farewell to your child born premature who has merely lived a couple of hours. And then the baby dies. In the morning they were happy. In the morning they were preparing themselves for a new life, a new family. Only by Maghrib that same day that their world was upside down. The advice was, I know that nothing can change what has happened, but I just need to hear something which will give me some solace. I'm not questioning what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has decreed for me, I accept that. But as the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, إن عظم الجزاء مع عظم البلاء. That the greater the test, the greater reward. وإن الله إذا أحب قوما ابتلاهم. And that if Allah loves a people, that He will test them. فمن رضي فله الرضا. And that the one who is pleased will earn Allah's pleasure. ومن سخط. And the one who is displeased, فله السخط. Then he will earn the displeasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is the life that we face. That the tests that many, yes of course, many a time it's far away from us. It may not pull on the heartstrings of your emotions, because we see it so often that things happen so far away from us. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can test us at any moment in those things which are most beloved to us, those things which we think we have control over, its protection. I'm the one that can keep it safe. I'm the one that can keep it secure. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is in control of everything in the universe. Nothing happens except by His permission. And it is these things that we prepare ourselves for. So when we think about the earthquake that occurred just a few days ago, seeing buildings falling like decks of cards, the floor being split open as though it was made from paper, people being drawn out of rubble, newborn babies and children, even the remains of individuals who did not live to tell the tale, but give us an indication of what their moments were last, what they were like. An indication where their finger is pointing with shahada, wallahu a'lam, that maybe their last kalam was La ilaha illallah Muhammadan Rasulullah. That such people who die in such a situation, as the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us, ash-shuhada'u khams, that the martyrs are of 5 types, and from them is an individual whom is trapped or destroyed or perished by something collapsing upon them. No one chooses or asks to die in such a manner, but an individual who was decreed that he would die like that gave an indication to us that these were his last words. And who is given that guarantee, who is given that promise that you and I will be able to say La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah as our last speech? Those people who perished, the shuhada under that rubble, did any of them think that Salat al-Isha was their last prayer? Did they really think that? On Sunday evening, when they said goodbye to maybe one of their relatives, did they ever think that that was the last time that they would see their mother or their father or their children, or I'll see my work colleague in the morning? They fully expected, like we all do, to live the next day. But that was their last moment. That was their last night. Is this our last Jummah? Was this the last prayer that we offered today? Do we make Salatul Asr? Do we make Salatul Maghrib? Do I make it back to work on Monday? How often do I think about these realities? Not just things for you and I just to think about, but absolute realities. That kullu nafsin dha'iqatul maut, that every soul shall taste death. No human being, the best of humans, the prophets and the messengers, alayhim salatu wasalam, none of them were saved from death. Ma ada Isa alayhi salatu wasalam, who was taken up into the heavens and will return to earth, but will also face death. These are things for us to ponder over. When we see catastrophes and disasters like that, how you react to it. So the impact, yes, physically maybe on others, on another part of the world. But how does it impact you when you read the first verses of Surah Al-Hajj? Surah Al-Hajj, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes a sa'ah as like, or the coming of the hour, like an earthquake. There's a reminder for us in these signs, and we ask Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala to make us those who take heed from these. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم من كل ذنب فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. All praise belongs to Allah, and may the peace and blessings of Allah Jalla wa Ala be upon His final messenger Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, in his speech, he possessed jawami'ul kalim. He possessed an eloquent speech, where he sallallahu alayhi wasallam had the ability, a gift from Allah Jalla wa Ala, to say something with a very short amount of words, but yet at the same time having a very powerful meaning. So when he sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam tells us, أحب الناس إلى الله أنفعهم, that the most beloved people to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are those who are of benefit to others. وأحب الأعمال إلى الله سرور تدخله على مسلم, and that the best of deeds that you can do is to enter some happiness in the heart of another Muslim. أو تكشف عنه كربة, or to remove a hardship that they are going through. أو تقضي عنه دينا, or to pay the debt that they may have. أو تطرد عنه جوعا, or to remove the hunger that they are facing. All of these deeds are serving others, helping others. Not nafsi nafsi, because on Yawm al-Qiyamah for sure you are nafsi nafsi, myself. But in this dunya, we are people here to serve Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we are here to serve one another, in a sense to help one another, to emulate the statement of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the best of you are those who are a benefit to others, to place happiness in the heart of others, to remove a difficulty upon another, to feed them, to clothe them, to make sure that those who are living as a neighbor next to you, those that are living in the next city to you, al-muslimu akhul muslim, the Muslim is a brother of another Muslim. He does not forsake him, he does not leave him, he does not deceive him, he does not cheat him. وَكُونُوا عِبَادَ اللَّهِ إِخْوَانًا, that you should be, as Muslims, nothing else but a brotherhood and a sisterhood. That the distance between ourselves is nothing between the brotherhood, the Islam, the Iman, the deen of Allah Jalla wa Ala, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed us with. There are no such thing as distances, miles or kilometers, however many they are. It's not an excuse for me not to do something. It's not a reason for me to be lazy. If, hypothetically, I was placed there in southern part of Turkey, the northern part of Syria, and I'm acutely aware that there is a big mentioning of southern Turkey. Let's not forget northern Syria as well. For us as Muslims, in terms of boundaries and borders, it means nothing because they're all Muslims for us. Let's not forget those people as well who've been affected in our supplications. If we were, let's say, given the blessing, given the ability to stand there in front of those people who are now sleeping in shelters, who are sleeping in maybe other people's remains or remnants of what home they have left, bearing in mind their freezing temperatures. They didn't have no time to pack no bags, didn't have no time to gather what is important in terms of belongings. They left their homes picking up what was valuable to them. Fathers picking up their children, carrying 2 children at a time, 3 children at a time, waking their families. Maybe the mother has no time to wear her hijab, to just exit, to save their lives. And by the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they were out there, sitting there, standing there in the snow, seeing their homes collapse right in front of them. If you were given the blessing to stand there in front of them, and that you had the great fortune of coming and living in a place of relative security, having a bank balance, having a warm home, what would you want to do for them? What would you say to them when they don't have their hands to place out in front of them, when they're saying to you, please help me? Their hands are full, holding their families. But you are there, standing in front of them, and you can see them in their desperate state, and you say to them, Allah yu'inak, sa'ad'u lak. May Allah help you. I'll make dua for you. You're in my du'as. You turn away and you show your back. Not just to this situation in Turkey and Syria, but for any Muslim on earth, that you have the ability to help, to make a sacrifice. Would you have the courage and the bravery to stand there in front of them and say, Allah yu'inak wa ad'u lak, may Allah help you, I make dua for you, and you walk away? I'm sure that not one of us would do that. But remember, distances are not an excuse for us. The fact that we are thousands of kilometers away, because they may not see you, and they don't see you. Of course they don't see you. And because they don't see you, you can slip away. You can walk away with your back and they don't see you. But you know what you did. You know what you are capable of doing. And most importantly, أَلَمْ يَعْلَمْ بِأَنَّ اللَّهَ يَرَى. Do they not think that Allah does not see them? That Allah Jalla wa Ala knows what is in your hearts and your capabilities, what you are able to do? Those mutasaddiqun, those people who give charity regularly, how many of them that you know became fuqara? They became poor people. How many of those, mashallah, people who are able to give, they're poor now? How many of them does not Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala replace and give back to them? Did not the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam tell us that charity does not decrease your wealth? Or are these narrations which, when push comes to shove, my iman is like, maybe yes, maybe no, I don't know. Do you have that leap of faith? Do you truly have that trust in Allah Jalla wa Ala that when you give, and I'm not talking about the giving which is the easy giving. And may Allah Jalla wa Ala reward anyone who gives a penny for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But if you really want to reach the level of birr, righteousness, those very high levels, that you will never reach those levels حَتَّى تُنْفِقُوا مَا تُحِبُّونَ. You never reach those levels until you give that which is beloved to you. That when you look at it, you give it away. And maybe you feel a little bit of difficulty in parting with it. But once you've parted with it, what comes immediately is the notion and the certainty that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward you for that. And that you will be rewarded on a day when you most need it. That you can't ask anybody else to help you and you need help. Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala will remind you what you gave him. You may forget, but Allah will remind you and give that to you. So let not one of us leave this masjid today, or after any prayer or every day that Allah Jalla wa Ala gives to us, that we are giving our full, our maximum to help the ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Your family, you start with your family, and then you start so on and so forth. You do what is in your ability to do so, and don't measure yourself from your brothers and sisters because of how far they are away from you, or what nationality they have, or what skin color they have, or what language they have. Islam came to bring all of that and to place it in the garbage. Has no relevance or meaning in Islam. Inna akramakum inda Allahi atqakum. That the best of you in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who has the most taqwa. One charity is here today, inshallah ta'ala, to take care of whatever you want to sacrifice for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There are a number of means for you to do that before you leave the masjid today, inshallah ta'ala. If you cannot do it today, you do what you can, inshallah ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala replace what you give for the sake of Allah jalla wa ala. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين. اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين. اللهم اغفر لنا ذنوبنا وتقصيرنا يا رب العالمين. اللهم ثبتنا عند المصائب. اللهم ثبتنا عند المصائب. اللهم ثبتنا عند المصائب يا حي يا قيوم. اللهم إنا نسألك الجنة وما قرب إليها من قول وعمل. اللهم إنا نعوذ بك من النار وما قرب إليها من قول وعمل. وقوموا إلى صلاتكم يرحمكم الله.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
استووا استقيموا تراصوا سد الخلل. Straighten the lines, fill the gaps. استووا. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. سبح اسم ربك الأعلى الذي خلق فسوى والذي قدر فهدى والذي أخرج المرعى فجعله غثاء أحوى سنقرئك فلا تنسى إلا ما شاء الله إنه يعلم الجهر وما يخفى ونيسرك لليسرى فذكر إن نفعت الذكرى سيذكر من يخشى ويتجنبها الأشقى الذي يصلى النار الكبرى ثم لا يموت فيها ولا يحيا قد أفلح من تزكى وذكر اسم ربه فصلى بل تؤثرون الحياة الدنيا والآخرة خير وأبقى إن هذا لفي الصحف الأولى صحف إبراهيم وموسى. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين
اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. والتين والزيتون وطور سينين وهذا البلد الأمين لقد خلقنا الإنسان في أحسن تقويم ثم رددناه أسفل سافلين إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات فلهم أجر غير ممنون. فما يكذبك بعد بالدين أليس الله بأحكم الحاكمين. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.